All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and I just wanted to say Happy New Year's, even though this is the second week in January and it's not the first, but it is a new, fresh start to the year. So I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and you're starting off the year strong. So over the holidays, we enjoyed ourselves and we probably spent some time doing some goal setting, right? I'm going to get right into this because the point I want to talk about today was like a light bulb moment for me, and I want to share my thoughts on it. And maybe you can take something from this and acknowledge maybe that you've done this in your own life. So it's the holidays, we enjoyed ourselves, and now that it's the New Year's, we're ready to get back on track. We're ready to set goals, affirmations, plans for making 2024 our best year yet. And if you know me or I've listened to this show, you know that I'm all about personal development, bettering oneself, finding your potential, right? So with that, there's a lot of categories that go into the personal development realm. There's things you've heard of, right? There's reading, there's exercise, there's nutrition, there's meditation. Um, there's tons of things that one can do to optimize their life, optimize their mindset, and personally develop towards their potential, right? So I've been hooked on these things for years because you experience them, you know how they make you feel. You've done maybe some research, you've read books, you've learned the science behind what is happening when you're taking on these habits, right? You might see some people that you admire on social media or in life in general, and you're like, "Oh man, look at what they're doing. I want to model their habits. I want to do those things. Let me incorporate them into my life." In the past, in an episode, I've also talked about why you need to realize what works for your life might not work for what's going on for them. So that's one thing to keep aware of is you can't just look at someone, see what their habits are, and think because you're doing them, it's going to be a perfect fit. There's maybe a way of approaching it or a season of life that you're ready for it to actually stick and to bear some fruit. But the thought that I wanted to talk about today is more so your mental approach to your habits and your mindset towards your goals and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And the reason I say this is because everything comes down to your mindset, right? Whether you believe something to be true or not to be true, either way, you're right. You've probably heard that phrase before, but it's true, right? It's all comes down to what we, to our core, believe to be true. So let me give you an example. Um, for me, I like to read. I like to go to the gym. I meditate. These are things that I do pretty much on a day-to-day basis. But the problem that we do is when it comes to January 1st and we're in our goal setting meeting, we're like, all right, I'm going to wake up, take a cold shower, then I'm going to meditate, then I'm going to go to the gym, then I'm going to read my book, then I'm going to do this. And you want to do these things every day for the rest of your life. In all honesty, if you were able to muster that up and never live outside of those parameters, yeah, you'd probably be, at a high level, but that's not life and that's not reasonable. The only things in life that we can do every day is your heart's always going to beat, you're going to breathe, you probably brush your teeth every day, take a shower, hopefully. These are things that we're going to do every day of the rest of our lives, no matter what. But something like going to the gym, although it's good for us, probably isn't going to happen every single day. And although meditating is good for us, you're probably not going to meditate every single day for the rest of your lives. But what I think we need to step back and acknowledge is the reason for us doing these acts is to feel better and to reduce our stress and just live a higher quality of life, right? Have some meaning, have some good feeling. And the biggest killer of them all is stress, right? When we're stressed out, we're not in a good mental space, our health declines. That's when disease starts to approach in our bodies because we're stressed. And you can see it in someone's face. So, my point in saying this is, are you stressing yourself out with the healthy habits that you're trying to do but not doing? So, for example, if you're like, I want to meditate in the morning, and you do it for 3 days in a row and you know you don't get to it the fourth day, what's better, to stress out about the fact that you didn't do it and beat yourself up mentally, or say, I'm human, I'm growing, and I'm going to get back on it the second day, right? The next day after that, right? That's not to say you can just slack off and not stay consistent with things, because we need to. But the way we get past this hump and, don't have those days where we miss it is changing our mindset towards what we're doing in the first place. So for meditating, you have to look at it and say, why do you meditate? Well, it calms my heart rate down. It, takes away all the distractions and the nonsense that's going on in life and on social media. And I really feel calm afterwards. And I'm really able to focus on what I want. And like, you can name 100, benefits of meditating. Well, that's the reason you're doing it, right? Not because some dude on Instagram does it, so you want to check it off your list because then that's going to make you cool, or you're this high achieving guy because you did this and you checked it off your list. When you do things and you're not present with them and you're not understanding the reason for doing them, you're not going to get the effect of it anyway, right? Like if I open a book and I just like skim through it really fast just to say I read a chapter today and I'm the guy who reads, you didn't learn anything, right? If you step back and you say, I want to read because I love the way it feels to learn new things, it sparks ideas. It's nice downtime to just sit on the couch or wherever you are, grab a cup of coffee and read a few pages, right? It doesn't have to be a whole book in a day. It doesn't have to be a book a week. Like you hear everyone says, oh, the most successful people read a book a week. It's like, from who? Who says that, right? There's tons of successful people that might read one book a month. I will tell you this, a lot of successful people do read, though. I would suggest reading physical books, but that's another topic for another day. Back to the point, though, it's like, what are you getting out of what you're doing? And what's your intention with doing it anyway? And when your intention is in the right place and you're able to be present and actually get something out of what you're trying to do, then there's no stress in maybe missing it once in a while, right? Like you're going to the gym, you're going 3 to 4 times a week, pretty steady. And one week it's very busy for you. So you only made it 2 times. Instead of saying, man, I didn't check that off my list of getting to the gym, say, okay, no sweat. I'm going to get back next week or tomorrow. But when you're doing the act, what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, man, I had a really bad dinner last night, so I got to get to the gym? Are you saying, man, I don't like the way I look in the mirror, so I got to get to the gym? Right? Are those the conversations that are happening in your head? Because if they are, I challenge you to just stop, assess it, and see what else we can think when approaching these goals. So for the gym, how do you feel? Right? Do you enjoy the feeling of warming your body up, sweating a little bit, strengthening you? Like it's empowering. You feel strong, you feel mobile, your dopamine is risen, your endorphins are higher, and you feel great afterwards. Those are the reasons you do it. You're gonna, extend your longevity of your life, your quality of life as you age, right? To have some lean muscle on you. So you're not decrepit and limping upstairs and your back hurts, right? That is why you are exercising, right? If you're eating, healthy, nutritious whole foods, you're not saying, are you sitting down to dinner and saying, damn, I know I need to be on this diet, so that's why I'm having broccoli and chicken tonight, or I really can't have the lasagna. Like, first of all, yes, you can. You can have those other things. But the point is, when you're eating healthy food, the mindset approach should be, I'm doing this because of how good my gut feels, how well I sleep, how high my energy is, my skin is clearing up. So you're acknowledging the reason why you're actually doing it is to benefit yourself, not just check it off the list, not just do it because some other person on Instagram is doing it or because you think that's what you should be doing. You see, I talk with a lot of people, right? So at our studio, people will reach out to come and sit down and have a goal setting consultation. And they come in, and a lot of times, I'll be honest, they try to tell me what I already know, right? They're like, well, I'm doing pretty good with the eat, and I know I need to eat. I know I need to work out. I know I need to do these things, but why aren't you doing it? If you know all the answers, why are you sitting in front of me looking for some help? And half of it is accountability. Yes, we know that you need a support team, but the other half is your intentions. People think they want to lose weight. People think they want to build muscle, right? Because that's what's told to them in the public eye. But they haven't taken it to their own personal level and saying, I want to do this because of how I want to feel. So it never works, right? You can join the gym because you know you should, but if you don't internally grasp the fact of, hey, like this really makes me feel good. Like I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for my spouse. I'm not doing this for any other reason other than it makes me feel good and I know what the benefits are, right? Like you can't do anything and expect it to work for you if you don't fully know why you're doing it. Oh, I think I should read books. Okay, I read this book. Then what? Right? No, it's like, hey, I'm interested in this topic. So I found a autobiography or a book on that topic and I read it and I learned something. And that was in alignment with what you want and who you are. So you're going to stick with that, right? They say the guy, what was the phrase? The man or the person who loves walking will walk further than I don't know the phrase. I totally butchered that. So give me some grace. But the concept is if you know why you're doing it and you enjoy it and you find some pleasure in it, you're going to do it consistently no matter what, rather than the person who's just trying to be, you know, hip and do what they think is proper and then they lose motivation. The biggest thing in those meetings that I talk to people about, I'm like, well, what's going on? What happened? Well, I just need motivation. I just lost I lost some motivation. I need motivation. That's what everyone says was holding them back from doing it on their own, right? I need some help. I need some motivation. Well, guess what? If you're doing it for the right reasons, the motivation's there, right? You don't need to be woken up by a drill sergeant and kicked into submission every single day. You're waking up and saying, man, I really want to make time for some meditating because of how good it makes me feel. I really want to get to the gym because of how good it makes me feel, right? That's the goal in life. No matter what you do, our goal is to feel good. So you boil this down to one thing at a time. Now that's the new year. Take all those 20 different goals and habits that you thought you were going to adapt in one day and take one that's most important in your life and see if we can do that because of the right reasons. Don't say, I'm going to do this every single day for this entire year or else. It's like, no, I'm going to do this as many days in a row as possible and see how I feel and make it a part of who I am. Then once you're there, and you're at the point where like shoot like working out's really just a part of my lifestyle and I enjoy it because of how I feel and what works for me, then you can incorporate something else, right? If you start to do too many things at once, we get sidetracked, we lose our discipline, we think we're doing it just to check things off of a list rather than do them to actually benefit ourselves, and all goes haywire and we're back to square one. So, if I can save you some time and years off your life rather than doing this year over year and 10 years down the road, you're like, why haven't I made any progress? Accept the fact that things are going to take time, right? Nothing happens overnight. Accept the fact that if you were to establish one new habit a month for the next 10 years, I mean, shoot, that's a whole new person. That's a whole new person in 1 year, 12 new habits. So if you were to, look back to last year and say, man, if I would have just did one thing per month or one thing every 2 months and just really focused in on that and did it because of the right reasons, because of how it makes me feel, then you're going to make some change. Then it's going to click mentally and then it'll become your lifestyle. Because as long as we are pushing to do things because someone told us to, or we think it's the right thing to do, whether it is like, yes, eating healthy and working out is the right thing to do. But if in your mind you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it ain't going to work. You're going to do it for 2 weeks and then I'll never see you again. And you won't, whether you're with me or not, you're just not going to stick with it. So take what I said, maybe journal. I like to journal. I like to sit with myself and get my thoughts on paper. But really take into thought of what I said, maybe figure out some of the goals that you're trying to do now or the habits that you have. See if you can remove some, right? See if you can take away some of the junk in your life, really focusing on one thing. take some time, write out all the benefits of it, how it makes you feel, what your thoughts are on it. And then that's going to give you a new outlook as to why you're doing it. And hopefully it's going to allow you to do it long term and make it a part of your lifestyle. So if you guys enjoyed this show, if you take anything of what I say and it resonates with you, or you learn something, or you feel like someone else you know could benefit from this, please share the show. Whether it's a message on Instagram, sharing it to your story, text messaging someone, or just liking and subscribing. Any way you can connect with the show, it's going to better help me reach more people who might get the same benefit that you did. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a good start to the new year. So until next time, you guys will be seeing me on Tuesdays. So I'm going to schedule these to come out on Tuesdays. So probably early in the morning, like 5 o'clock. So you early risers can listen to it on your way to work. I will see you guys next time.